I'm always thinking about how to reinvent different monuments so they make sense for us today. One of them is the eternal flame, which usually is supposed to burn forever and remind us of something very abstract like freedom or equality, or perhaps something very warlike like an unknown soldier or hero. And I was thinking, what is exactly the meaning of the eternal flame, and what is eternity, and how do we keep things alive?
This is heating up. That's good.
This recipe reminds me of childhood. My parents worked 7 days a week, so we had only one day out of the year where we got together and we would gather with other families and we would do a barbecue.
When I came to the US as a grad student, I realized that I didn't know how to cook. Ooh, finally this is heating up. And this recipe was specifically transferring my mom's wok cooking, and this was an attempt to turn that into grill cooking. I'd never used a grill before. It's not very typical in India, you know?
For us, this reminds us of home. The ocean, the sea, and just being able to cook as a family and do traditional foods together. The codfish is part of our traditional Barbadian type fare, and so it's part of what we all ate growing up. As Pauline said, some of us didn't like codfish, so they made it into patties and added seasonings and spices to ensure that we would eat it.
Es una receta que yo aprendí de mi madre. Mi madre la aprendió de mi abuela.
I know my own is a third generation recipe, so from my great-grandmother.
Mine is from my grandmother.
Yeah.
To me, it means continuity.
Yes.
Continuity of family, of knowledge, of foods and recipes.
Towards the back too, I figure.
Traditions continuing on in someone's new homeland. Very often it's one of the only things you bring with you from wherever you're coming from. You brought your language, you brought your memories of food from childhood and home. So it's one of the strongest connectors people have to who they are and where they're from.
Totally. I think that's how people remember, that's how communities remember, that's how societies remember.
Por medio de la receta, siempre yo la mantengo como si ella viviera, mi abuela.
Definitely more important to pass on from generation to generation because it's part of our life. We want our children and our grandchildren to know what it is and how we grew up, what we ate. So we definitely want to pass it on.
The memory of my mother's cooking is, for me, it is failure to replicate, and in failing to replicate, you generate a new idiom of your own.
Invariably, these recipes will change. They'll change along with what happens to them while they're here, the friends they make, the bonds they make, connections, and it will be a constant evolution.
Way overcooked. Or not.
No, perfect. Both my grandmothers lived for 100 years in this little town in eastern India. And so I think both their memories are embedded in my parents and then carry into me. And now me in the US is this kind of a coming together of two threads of memories. The way it's just, in some ways, the cooking fire is an eternal flame, where communities and people who are moving and leaving behind something and coming to a new place carry these forms of cooking as that kind of original flame from the hearth.
The idea of an eternal flame in relation to food is really beautiful because it's more than memory, it's tradition. It's bringing stuff from the past into the present with our cooking. And it's not just a memorial, it's something we're actually doing and sharing with others all the time. This one is a French bread, and the other one, maybe this is a focaccia bread.
For us, the eternal flame means longevity. It means continuation of our family traditions and being able to pass our thoughts and our foods and our music onto our children and grandchildren.
Should I put the sea salt on?
Actually, just go sea salt.
This one is chimichurri, and this is anchovy butter. And then it's sea salt.
What? Yeah, but the char doesn't go through to the inside?
I don't mind the char actually.
Oh my God, if you don't hurry up here, there's like no butter left.
I can't believe that. Actually, sure, it's a room full of chefs.
Thank you.